establishment hack Jon Stewart is acting like a stupid dickhead again. Um, anyway, Jon Stewart claims Americans don't need guns to protect their constitutional rights. I don't think he understands the Constitution, to be honest. Jon Stewart does. Or is it most likely just doing it on purpose? Donald Trump's recent return to Butler, Pennsylvania, I think it's Pennsylvania, where he was nearly assassinated due to Secret Service incompetence or deliberate failure, has got the political left all worked up. Perhaps in part because Thomas Crooks failed to complete his task despite being given every conceivable opportunity to succeed, but also because Elon Musk was there to support the rally. Nothing Musk said was particularly shocking to normal Americans, but his comments on the necessity of the Second Amendment as a means to keep the First Amendment have outraged Democrats. Cultural progressives, in particular, have sought to disarm the rest of the nation for decades. Gun control and ultimately gun confiscation are foundational policies that their movement revolves around. The question is why? Why are they so desperate to violate the Bill of Rights and take firearms away? I could tell you why they want to violate the Bill of Rights because the only way they could pretty much win the election is just to do it through illegal ways, and taking and just destroying the Constitution in general. The Bill of Rights is pretty much how they're going to go about it. Hillary Clinton's all for it. John Kerry is as well. They certainly don't care about people's safety. If they did, they wouldn't have cheered on the baseless and violent BLM and Antifa riots. Social media is replete with woke activists calling for the deaths of conservatives. There you go. These woke idiots what they are is pro-war, and they want to incite violence too. Um, these are not peaceful people seeking nirvana. They are happy to use violence if they think it will get them more power. This is a problem that old school Democrats like Jon Stewart continue to enable while pretending it doesn't exist. Yeah, yeah. And do you remember when Jon Stewart put that medal on that Ukrainian Nazi? Exactly. That's the type of person Jon Stewart has become. Clinging to cultural relevancy on his newly rebooted Daily Show. Who the fuck watches his show anyway? I doubt it much people do. Attempted to lampoon Elon Musk over his assertion on the Second Amendment in Butler, but his strange diatribe about representative democracy is a retro callback to the 1990s as comes off as rather naive. Does Stewart really believe this nonsense? It's hard to say, but the past few years have made his arguments obsolete. The First Amendment is not protected by the consent of the government. Americans just experienced a 3 year period of active censorship under the Biden administration, working closely with big tech and social media companies. Stewart shrugs off such censorship as if it's overblown and doesn't matter, but even Mark Zuckerberg admitted that Facebook was under pressure from the establishment to silence dissent on a number of issues from COVID mandates to Hunter Biden's laptop. Contrary to Stewart's delusions about democracy, the reality is that the Constitution does not defend itself. According to polls, a large number of Democrats desire the erasure of numerous rights during the COVID scare. I remember that. That's what I even said it to a friend of mine. What COVID really showed me was how stupid people are, and they wanted so much censorship, and they wanted even more lockdowns too. Just complete fucking idiots. They don't represent the majority, but there is more than enough of them to add weight to any authoritarian effort, and the only thing stopping them from getting everything they want is the existence of millions of American gun owners. It's not as if the progressive globalist establishment intends to give up either, as John Kerry noted during the climate conference held by the World Economic Forum in September. Their open intent is to shut down free speech rights regardless of the democratic process. If they could get rid of the First Amendment, they would. The only reason they have it is because the US government doesn't have a monopoly on force. In Stewart's Fantasyland, a free republic is a self perpetuating entity that continues on for eternity once it is set in motion, driven only by the goodness and the purity of ideology and the voting process. But elections can be subverted by top-down corruption, and the system has been clearly been broken for some time. One only need to look at the malicious government crackdown on speech happening in the UK to see what happens when a population is disarmed. There are examples of this across the globe, yet in the world of the Daily Wire, there's some kind of magical force embedded in democracy that protects the populace from abuse. To be sure, the act of violence rebellion is generally a last resort after all, other measures have been exhausted. It's just important to recognise that there's always a breaking point, and America is very close now. Stewart ironically contradicts his own premise where he claims guns only protect the speech of the people holding the guns. Yes, John, that's why the Second Amendment exists, so that everyone's speech is protected, because a representative government can become a tyrannical government as easily as any other government. All it all it takes is time. The Second Amendment assures that the consent of the government is never manufactured or forced without the threat of a rebellion. Once a government has a monopoly on violence, the concept of public consent is meaningless and the elites will do as they please. As Thomas Jefferson once wisely stated in reference to the potential of future citizen rebellion, what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the right of resistance? Let them take arms. The remedy is to set them right as to facts, pardon and pacify them. What signify a few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I'm going to stop from there, but this is what I'm saying. They want to take away, they want to take away guns, even though I'm not a gun person, clearly. But the thing is, if 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 the government said, "Oh, first I can have guns," and then they want to take them away from me, I'm not gonna give them back to the government. The hell with that. Why should I? Because the thing is, they want to take away all your rights and just leave you vulnerable. That's clearly what they want to do. And just like I said, just like you said earlier, John Kerry and Hillary Clinton have made it so clear. If they could get away with stripping away your rights completely, like I think it's the First Amendment. I think the right to free speech, they will completely take it out of the constitution, because I can tell that's what they really want to do, but so far they haven't been able to do it. Luckily, anyway, because the thing is, if they'll do it in America, I mean, they will do it everywhere else, and obviously they're starting to do that as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.